Have you ever found yourself wondering late at night who would actually show up for you if everything suddenly fell apart? Not who says they care, not who shares your last name, but who really has your back when life takes a hard turn after. See, that question hits differently. Your circle tightens, people move on, and sometimes the people you thought would always be there aren't. It's a sobering realization, and it doesn't come all at once. Sometimes it's a phone call that doesn't come, a birthday that's forgotten, a hospital stay where the waiting room is emptier than you imagined. And in that silence, you start to ask, who's truly there for me? That's why today, we're diving into something crucial, something most people never talk about until it's too late. We're going to uncover 6 powerful sources of support that might be more reliable than even your closest family. These aren't just casual acquaintances. These are the lifelines that could make all the difference as you age. They are steady, dependable, and sometimes surprisingly strong. And the best part? You may already have some of them in your life. You just haven't seen them this way before. Some of them may surprise you. And by the end of this video, you may walk away with a new perspective, and maybe even a plan to strengthen your support system. So stay with me until the very end. Some of these might just shift the way you see your own life. Let's get started. Support. Give me 1, your primary care physician. It might sound simple, but your doctor could be one of the strongest supporters in your corner. Think about it. As we age, we start seeing our physician more than many of our relatives. They know your medical history. They can spot changes in your health before you even notice them. But more than that, a good doctor listens. When you've seen the same doctor for years, you build something many people overlook: trust. They remember when your blood pressure started climbing. They catch that sudden weight loss you didn't think was noticeable. They see the quiet signs of depression, anxiety, or burnout that others might miss. I once knew a woman named Carol. She didn't have a big family. But her doctor, a woman she'd seen for 15 years, noticed something was off. Carol was quieter than usual. The doctor asked gentle questions, and eventually Carol opened up about feeling overwhelmed and lonely. That conversation led her to a support group that changed her entire outlook. A great doctor isn't just managing your prescriptions. They can become your advocate, your health ally, sometimes even your emotional checkpoint. They may be the only person in your life who sees you regularly, asks real questions, and tracks your physical and emotional health over time. And if you've never had that kind of relationship with a doctor, it's never too late to start. Look for someone who listens, who doesn't rush, and who remembers the details. That's the kind of support that can literally save your life. Support 2. Lifelong friends. Unlike family, friends are chosen. And if you've had someone stick around through marriage, divorce, job loss, illness, they're not just a friend. They're family by loyalty. Some of the most enduring relationships we have are with those who've chosen to stay. At this stage of life, old friends offer something incredibly rare: context. They remember who you were 30 years ago. They see your journey. They understand your quirks without judgment. You can go weeks without speaking, and then pick up exactly where you left off. You can call them in the middle of the night, not because you need advice, but because you just need someone to sit in the silence with you. That kind of support is gold, and it works both ways. Maybe you've been that person for someone else, a steady, non-judgmental presence through the chaos of life. Those are bonds forged in real fire, and they tend to last. Friendships like this can be more healing than a dozen phone calls from distant relatives. Whether it's a weekly coffee, a check-in text, or just sitting in silence together, they remind you that you're still you, and that you matter. Even if you feel like you've lost touch with old friends, it's never too late to reconnect. A simple message, a handwritten note, or even a photo shared from the past can reopen doors. You'd be surprised how ready people are to hear from you. Now, if you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Now that we've covered your doctor and your lifelong friends, let's move on to a group that offers deep comfort in ways many people overlook. Faith-based or spiritual communities, unseen strength and shared belief. Whether you're deeply religious or simply spiritual, there's something unique about gathering with others who share your core values. Faith communities aren't just about services. They're often where emotional, social, and even financial support quietly flows. Take Anna, who began attending a small church group in her mid-60s. She'd never been especially religious, but the warmth and consistency she found there became a grounding force in her life. When she was diagnosed with breast cancer, members of the group brought meals, offered transportation, and sat with her during treatments. "I felt more cared for by these people than I ever did by my own family," she admitted. Faith-based groups often have built-in systems of care, pastoral visits, prayer chains, volunteer committees. These aren't just rituals, they're lifelines. The shared belief system creates a bond that, for many, feels like family. Even if traditional religion isn't your path, you might find spiritual community in a meditation group, a yoga class, or a discussion circle centered on life's big questions. These spaces offer grounding, calm, and connection. These communities also encourage something we often overlook: accountability. They remind you to show up, to contribute, and to support others. And in turn, you're supported. You matter. You're missed when you're not there. That's a rare and beautiful thing. Support groups, where shared struggles build unbreakable bonds. Grief, divorce, illness, aging. These aren't light topics, but they're real and often isolating. That's why support groups are so vital. Imagine walking into a room where everyone already gets it. You don't have to explain or sugarcoat. You can just be Karen, 72, joined a widow's support group 6 months after losing her husband. "It was the first place I could cry without feeling like I had to apologize," she said. Now she leads group meditations and checks in with newer members. "We hold each other up," she says simply. That kind of acceptance is rare, and it's why bonds formed in these groups are often stronger than casual friendships. When you're vulnerable together, the connection is fast, deep, and real. In fact, studies show that seniors who participate in support groups have lower levels of depression, stronger immune systems, and even better memory retention. The act of sharing heals. Support groups also create a space for learning. You pick up coping strategies, medical information, and even everyday life hacks from others who've been in your shoes. It's like having a built-in wisdom council, ready to help. These groups may be in person or online. Don't be afraid to search one out. Look for one that fits your needs. Bereavement, chronic illness, even aging-related anxiety. You'll find others walking the same path. And the best part? These groups remind you that you are not alone. Whatever you're facing, someone else is facing it too. And together, you're stronger. If this tip struck a chord and you're finding this helpful, please comment the number 3 below. It means a lot to know someone like you is listening, learning, and taking care of their well-being. If you haven't yet, I'd love for you to hit the like button and subscribe. This channel exists for people like you, people who care deeply about living well and aging wisely. Let's continue now, because the next point might surprise you even more. Support 5, your daily routines. It might not seem like much, but the small routines you've built, your morning coffee, your evening walk, that daily crossword puzzle, are powerful forms of support. These habits aren't just rituals, they're stability. They create a rhythm, a sense of purpose, and they anchor your days when life around you feels unsteady. You see, as we age, the world doesn't always slow down with us. Children grow up and move away. Work may no longer define your schedule, but routines can keep you centered, reminding you that your time, your actions, and your energy still matter. Think of the quiet comfort in making your bed each morning, or setting out clothes the night before. These are more than chores. They're daily affirmations that you are still in charge of your life. They build momentum, even on hard days. And over time, they reinforce self-worth, resilience, and identity. Take Helen, for example. After retirement, She struggled with loneliness and a lack of structure. So she started her mornings with tea, journaling, and a 5-minute walk, even on rainy days. Within weeks, her anxiety dropped. "It gave me something to look forward to," she said. "It reminded me that I still have control." Daily routines may seem small, but they become emotional scaffolding. Quiet, unspoken support systems that help you stay upright when the world gets loud or uncertain. If you've been feeling unmoored, consider starting with just one simple ritual a day. The power is in the consistency. What matters isn't how big or impressive the routine is, it's how yours it feels. A morning stretch, watering your plants, listening to a favorite song before bed. These actions quietly communicate, you're here, you're steady, and you matter. They also help reinforce sleep, mental clarity, and even digestion. There's neuroscience behind it. Your brain craves rhythm, and when you give it that, it rewards you with peace. So build those little anchors into your life. Over time, they become the background music that holds your mood steady, your confidence up, and your days in motion. Support 6. Your inner wisdom. This one might be the most overlooked of all, the strength that already lives inside you. By the time you reach 60 or beyond, you've lived through enough to know what truly matters. You've made mistakes, faced losses, experienced triumphs, and survived things you once thought you couldn't. That experience isn't just memory, it's wisdom. Your inner voice, the one that says this doesn't feel right, or I've been here before, is one of the most reliable guides you'll ever have. And yet we often ignore it, especially when others make us doubt our instincts. But here's the truth. No one knows your needs better than you do. You know when you need rest. You know when something feels off in your body. You know which relationships nourish you and which ones drain you. Trusting that inner voice takes practice. It means pausing, checking in with yourself, and honoring what comes up. It means giving yourself permission to say no, to ask for help, to change course. And perhaps most importantly, it means recognizing that you are worthy of support, not because of what you do for others, but simply because you're here, because you matter. You've already built wisdom from decades of trial and error. You've handled heartbreak, you've overcome illness, you've adapted to a changing world. That resilience is not just impressive, it's usable. You can lean on it. You can draw strength from it. And when others doubt your choices, your inner wisdom can remind you that you've walked this road before, and you know the way. Inner wisdom also shows up in how you care for others, how you listen, how you forgive, how you adapt. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet voice that says, let go, or the gentle one that says, try again. And over time, that voice becomes the truest support you'll ever have. If this part spoke to you, drop a 5 in the comments and let us know you're on this journey with us. And if you've made it this far, you clearly care. So please subscribe for more life-changing tips and share this with someone who might need a reminder of their own strength. Now let's wrap up with one final reflection, because while these supports are powerful individually, together they create a life that feels held, seen, and unshakably support. As we bring this journey to a close, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've uncovered. After 60, support doesn't always come from where we expect. Sometimes it arrives in the form of a steady doctor who knows more about you than your own family. Other times it's the old friend who's seen you at your worst and stays anyway. Sometimes it's found in the warmth of a faith group who remembers your name, asks about your week, and fills your freezer with home-cooked meals. When you're down, or in a group of strangers who, despite never having met you before, understand your grief, your joys, and your journey more than anyone else. Then there are the quiet comforts, the daily routines that ground you when everything else feels shaky. The cup of tea, the morning walk, the bedtime prayer, the unassuming rituals that act as anchors in the chaos. And finally, there's you, your inner wisdom. The decades of lessons and growth and perseverance you've earned the hard way. that deep-rooted sense that you've been here before and you'll get through it again. These 6 supports, individually, are powerful, but together, they form something even more remarkable. A safety net you didn't know you already had. One that can catch you, hold you, remind you that you are not alone. And here's the most beautiful part. You don't have to wait for a crisis to realize how strong your foundation is. You can nurture it now. Reach out to your doctor, not just when you're sick, but when you need clarity. Call that friend you haven't spoken to in years. Chances are they've missed you too. Walk into that community center. Sit quietly in a spiritual space. Start that morning ritual you've been meaning to try. Or simply pause and ask yourself, what do I need today? These acts may seem small, but they're how we build connection, how we take back control, how we shift from surviving to truly living. And when you begin to recognize these supports in your life, something changes. You stop feeling like a burden. You start feeling like you belong again, like you have purpose, like you're still building, growing and giving because you are. There's also a ripple effect. When you lean into these supports, you often become one for others. Your steady presence can ground someone else. Your check-in call can be the reason someone smiles. Your shared story might inspire a stranger to open up. Aging with intention and presence isn't just about your own well-being. It's a gift to those around you. This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing the strength that comes from being honest, from asking for help, and from showing up anyway. The truth is, we all need each other, and we always have, but after 60, that need becomes clearer, more urgent, and more beautiful in its simplicity. So if you've been feeling unsupported or forgotten, I hope today's message gave you something to hold on to. A name to call, a group to explore, a habit to reclaim, or maybe, just maybe, a reason to trust yourself a little more. Remember, small changes can make a big difference in your health and happiness. Even reaching out to one person or starting one new routine can begin to shift the way you experience this chapter of life. Thank you for joining us today. I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need this reminder. We're building a community here, one based on honesty, strength, and the belief that aging doesn't mean disappearing. It means becoming more of who you truly are. You're not invisible. You're not alone. You're still becoming. Until next time, take care of your beautiful heart.